Okay, we're on Daf Lamed Hey Amid Beis. We're a few lines from the bottom. Amar of Shmuel Bal Bidri Amar Rav Amri Lo Amar Rav Acha Aricha Amar Rav Huna Amri Lo Amar Rav Menachos Bar Shmuel Tefillin Me'emasai Mevarech Alel. When do you make the bracha on tefillin? Says the Gemara Mishas Hanchasan. When you put it on your hands. Now the simple way of reading the Gemara, it sounds like you put it on your hand, then you make the bracha. You don't make the bracha before. It sounds like you tie it on your arm, then you make the bracha. The problem is, you always make the bracha before the mitzvah. So says the Gemara, not before, not after. You make the bracha after you already tie the tefillin on your hand. It's too late. Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Kol mitzvahs kulan mevarach alein oiv yasan. You always make the bracha before the mitzvah, not after the mitzvah. So the Gemara says, Abaye v'Rava damri tavayu mishas hanocha v'ashas kshira. What it means like this: you put the shel yad on your hand. Don't tighten it, make the bracha, and then tighten it. So it's before the bracha is before the mitzvah of the kshira. Says the Gemara Vayter, Amar Rav Chizda, Sach. If a person speaks, bein tefillah l'tefillah, between the shel yad and the shel roish, chayzer mevarach, you have to make another bracha. Now the simple way of reading the Gemara is that there's only one bracha on the shel yad and the shel roish, is one bracha. But if you speak, then you have to make a bracha on the shel rosh. Says the Gemara, sach in loy sach loy. That means that if you don't speak, there's no bracha on the shel rosh. You only make a bracha on the shel rosh if you spoke. But if you didn't speak, nothing. But the Gemara says, hashalach la Rav Chia berei de Rav Huna mishmei de Rav Yochanan al tefillin shel yad. What did Rav Chia say? On the tefillin shel yad, you say asher kidishan mitzvahs zivanu lahaniach, and al tefillin shel rosh is asher kidishan mitzvahs zivanu mitzvahs tefillin. So it sounds like there's always a bracha on the shel rosh. So what's going on over here? So is there a bracha on the shel rosh only when you speak, or is there always a bracha on the shel rosh? So the Gemara responds the following, and this line, Taisus brings down, there's two ways to read this Gemara, and this would dictate the two different opinions as to whether you make one bracha on the tefillin or two brachas. Says the Gemara, Abaye v'Rava d'amri tavayu, Abaye and Rava both say, Lo yisach mevarach achas, sach mevarach shrayim. What it means is like this. The way they read the Gemara, Rashi reads the Gemara is like this. You generally do not make a bracha on the shel rosh. If you spoke, then you make a bracha on the shel rosh. So when the Gemara says you make asher kiddusham zayzonu al mitzvahs, that's if you spoke. But if you didn't speak, you just make a lahaniach, and that covers both. That's Rashi's approach. Taisus brings down for Rabbi Tam, he disagrees. Rabbi Tam, the grandson of Rashi, disagrees. He says, no. You always make two brachas. But if you speak, then you have to make two brachas on the shel rosh. But you always make two brachas. The machlokes Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. You always make a lahaniach lamitzvahs, but if I were to speak, we make two brachas, yeah? Not Yasi, but we make two brachas. But if you speak, he threw that on me recently. Anyway, because you make two brachas. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Because you make two brachas, but if you speak in between, then I have to make two brachas on the shel rosh. Correct. Huh? Because when you spoke, you were mafsik, you separated, meaning according to this, the two brachas are really on both the shel rosh and the shel yad. But if you speak in between, meaning the first bracha is on the shel rosh as well. So if you speak, you've separated that, you got to repeat it for the shel rosh. Is it a bracha of atala? It's not good to do what you did. I'm saying, whatever, yeah, you were goyim a bracha shin, it's whatever. No, but that's the point. It is. There's a bracha. The bracha goes in the shel yad as well. And if you speak, you have to repeat to fix that.
In progress.
Says the Gemara, Tana sach bein tefillah. If a person speaks between the shel yad and shel rosh, avera hi biyadai. It's an avera. Meaning, do not think that it's not a small thing. It's considered avera. V'chayzer of marchi hamachama. And it was enough to make you have to go back as a soldier. The pasuk says that the soldiers were kol hayari v'rach levav, that you couldn't be a soldier unless you were a Yeril Yari Shemayim. An example of an Avera that would get you kicked out of the Israeli army was talking between the shel yad and the shel rosh. Speaking between the shel yad and the shel rosh was enough to make you that you'd have to repeat. What do you think? Huh? Yeah. Says the Gemara, Tana, Kishuminiach, you sure? You guys sure? Okay. Kishuminiach, when you put on the tefillin, Miniach shel yad, you put on the shel yad first, the chayzer v'achakach meniach shel rosh, and then you put the shel rosh on. So shel yad and then shel rosh. Now that's the reason is because like L'mayla v'kodesh Meridin, whatever else we'll see. And also the pasuk implies that way. Ukeshu chaylet, but when you take off, chaylet shel roish v'yachar chaylet shel yad. So you put the shel yad on and then the shel roish. But when you take off the tefillin, you take off the shel roish and then you take off the shel yad. And you guys give me the wave, the white flag. It's not for me. I don't care. So the Gemara says, so when you put on, you do shel yad and then shel roish, but when you take off, you do shel roish and then shel yad. So the Gemara says, I understand why you're putting on the tefillin, you're doing shel yad and then shel roish. Why? Because the pasuk says, ukshartem la'ois al yodecha, that you put the shel yad on first, and then lo toitafes benenecha, and then you put on the shel roish. So it says shel yad and then shel roish. It is ma'alav kodesh emeridan. Shel roish is more kodesh. So it is more kaddish, but the pasuk implies as a. But the point is, the pasuk implies that the order is the shel yad and the shel roish. Beautiful. But the question is, where do you see in the pasuk that you should take off the shel roish first? Says the Gemara, so Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rabbi, Rav Huna, Sabrli, Amar Kro. The pasuk says, "V'hayu toitafos beineinecha, kol zman shebeineinecha yushtayim." Toitafos implies v'hayu is them. Is plural. Them meaning shel yad and shel roish. L'toitavos beineinecha. Whenever you're wearing the shel roish, you have to be wearing two tefillin. So therefore, by definition, you put on the shel yad and the shel roish, you have two tefillin. When you take it off, if you were to take off the shel yad first, there would be a moment where you're just wearing a shel roish. It says v'hayu l'toitavos beineinecha, which means v'hayu is they, that you should always be wearing. When you're wearing l'toitavos, you always have to have they. You always have to have two tefillin on. Huh? No, the hayu, it's from the plural v'hayu. The hayu means they, that when you're wearing the shel roish, you always have to have they. You always have to have two tefillin. And the only way to do that is to take off the shel roish before the shel yad. Tan Rabbanan, tefillin me'emasai mevarach alein. And when do you put on tefillin in the morning? So we know the earliest time is called mishayakir, which means when you're able to see your friends from Dalet Amos away. Mishas hanchasan, from the moment in the morning. Keitzad, what's an example of wearing it very early in the morning? Hayamashkim latzis l'derech u'misyar shem yevedu manichan u'kashigi izman u'mashin mevarach alein. A chiddush. If let's say I have to leave early, and I'm afraid that if I don't put on tefillin now, they're going to get lost, or I can't leave them at home, so I could put them on before Mishiyakir. And then once Mashiach comes, just touch them and rub them, whatever, move them around, and then you make the bracha. But says the Gemara, that's as early. So you could put it on the best time is Mashiach, but technically you could put it on a little bit before Mashiach, and then by the Zman, you'll be mamashmish. How late can I put on tefillin? How late can I wear tefillin? Van mosai manichon. So when can I, how long can I wear tefillin? Until Shkia. Meaning this opinion holds that Laila is not Zman tefillin. You're not allowed to put on tefillin or wear tefillin at night. Good. Now these next two opinions disagree. They believe it's not that Laila you can't wear tefillin, it's that you cannot put on tefillin. But if you were already wearing tefillin, you could continue wearing tefillin into the nighttime. Now how late? Says Rav Yaakov Amar Achetichel Regel Menashuk. Chanukah time. Until Regel Achetichel Regel Menashuk. It's a little bit later than Seis, meaning he believes you can't put on tefillin that late. But if you're wearing tefillin, you could wear them until Achetichel Regel Menashuk. I'll explain in a moment why. And the Chum say Ad Zman Sheina, until people go to sleep. You can mamish, you can't put on tefillin, but you can wear tefillin. People go to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. You can wear tefillin until 11. What's the pshat? They hold that the isser of wearing tefillin at night is not really an isser of, it's an isser of putting on tefillin, it's not the zman, but the real isser of tefillin at night is we're afraid that you'll pass gas. You're not allowed to pass gas while wearing tefillin, and when people fall asleep, the body, that's what happens. So therefore, you're not allowed to sleep with tefillin. So the ikr is not wearing tefillin at night. The isser is you can't sleep with tefillin. So therefore, what's the time? You have to take it off. So one opinion says when people go to sleep, the other says no, you got to do it earlier. Tichel Regel Menashuk, people already got drowsy. But they hold you're not allowed to put on tefillin, but you could wear tefillin until those times. So the Gemara speaks it out. Umoidim chacham v'Rav Yaakov shemcholtz lotzes abeis hakisei or lekanis abeis hamerchatz v'shak acham ashuvin chayzim miniach. And they agree that if they were, let's say they hold that you could wear tefillin until 11 o'clock at night. If you were to take off tefillin for whatever reason, let's say to use the bathroom, you cannot put that back on because again, after Shkia, you're not allowed to put tefillin back on. They just hold you could continue wearing it until nightfall. Amar Rav Nachman halacha Rav Yaakov. The halacha follows Rav Yaakov that you're allowed to continue wearing tefillin at Shetichel Regel Menashuk. And I'll prove it to you, by the way. According to Rav Yaakov, if you're allowed to wear tefillin at Shetichel Regel Menashuk, let's say Tichel Regel Menashuk is today nowadays. Is it 5? It's like 6 o'clock. That means you could have a ma'ariv with tefillin on, right? Because you could have a ma'ariv before that. and you're allowed to wear tefillin shetichah and menashuk. So according to Rav Yaakov, you could technically wear tefillin. You could have ma'ariv for wearing tefillin. And the Gemara says, Rav Chizda v'Rab Rav Huna matzah b'urta. Rav Chizda Rav Rav Huna taka wore tefillin when they daven ma'ariv. Why? Because they held like Rav Yaakov that you're allowed to continue wearing tefillin until shechah regam menashuk. The Gemara says Ikadamri. Some have a slightly different version. That ain't halachic Rav Yaakov. That the Brisa said that the Gemara says we don't pass like Rav Yaakov. Go to the next page. I Rav Chizda Rav Rav Huna matzah b'urta. I Rav Chizda Rav Rav Huna wore tefillin for ma'ariv. The answer is hopefully they taka disagree and they hold the halacha follows Rav Yaakov. Okay. Umi Amar Rav Huna Hachi. Did Rav Huna say that you're allowed to continue wearing tefillin into nighttime? V'Amar Rav Huna, meaning like this. Rav Huna holds you could wear tefillin. You can't put on tefillin, but you could wear tefillin into the night. Is that true? Rav Huna Amar Safik Lechashecha Loichaylet V'Loi Meniach Havadei Chashecha Chaylet. Didn't Rav Huna once say that you're not allowed to put on tefillin? That it's bein hashmashis, you don't have to take them off, but you're not allowed to wear them. Doesn't that imply if he says again? You have two statements of Rabbi Huna. One is that you could continue wearing tefillin on shetil regam and ashuk, which is let's say 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. But didn't he say that you could only wear tefillin bein hashmashis? Bein hashmashis way earlier. That means that the second tzeis comes, you got to take it off. So one opinion of Rabbi Huna is you could wear tefillin into tzeis. The other opinion is you got to take it off by tzeis. So what's going on? So says the Gemara, very simple. Hasan be'erev Shabbos itmar. The answer is what day? Rabbi Rav Huna, two different statements. I'm not talking about the same days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you could wear tefillin past tzeis. Erev Shabbos is when he said you have to take it off by nightfall. You want to know why? Because nightfall is Shabbos. And Shabbos you're not allowed to wear tefillin. Meaning, so at night, he doesn't mind wearing tefillin at night. He has a problem wearing tefillin at night on Friday night. Because Shabbos is not this man. Let me explain outside of the issue we're about to have. So according to Rabbi Rav Huna, you could wear tefillin at night on a Tuesday. But you cannot wear tefillin at night on Shabbos because it's Shabbos. And nothing to do with night, it's because it's Shabbos. Here's the issue though. The source that you're not allowed to wear tefillin at night, that miyut, that the pasuk excludes night, is the same source of excluding Shabbos. They usually go hand in hand. If you believe you can wear tefillin at night, you can wear tefillin on Shabbos. If you believe you cannot wear tefillin at night, you cannot wear tefillin on Shabbos. Because it's basically like the concept is like, what are the times for tefillin? If you exclude night, you exclude Shabbos. You include night, you include Shabbos. So what are you telling me? The Rabbi Rav Huna is comfortable wearing tefillin at night, but not on Shabbos. That's strange because Pashtus, the drushes go hand in hand. And in Menachos, if he darshans no Shabbos, he should darshan no night. If he darshans yes night, he should darshan yes Shabbos. That's the issue. Says the Gemara, my kasavar, I don't understand. I kasavar laila zman tefillin, Shabbos nami zman tefillin. And Ikasavar Shabbos loves man tefillin, Laila Nami loves man tefillin. I don't understand. If he believes that Shabbos is not the time, then that same exclusion for Shabbos should exclude nightfall on a Tuesday. And if he believes that Tuesday night is fine, then he should include Friday night. Why? Because it's the same drasha. What's the drasha? Shabbos. Because the very pasuk that excludes Shabbos from the tefillin obligation, Mehasamay Lailas, is the same pasuk that excludes nighttime. The Tanya, as the Brisa says. Now this pasuk, you have to understand, this pasuk is the end of the parasha of Tefillin, Kadesh Li Kol B'char, that we read. So it's an interesting parasha because it's definitely related to Tefillin. That's why we read it. People read all the parashas of Tefillin. It's in the Tefillin. But the actual psukim are talking about the Karban Pesach. But we're assuming that this pasuk is talking about Tefillin. And the last pasuk says like this: V'shamarta es achuka hazois lemoyada miyomim leimima. You should keep this law from season to season, from day to day. Pashtus, the Gemara assumes we're talking about tefillin. And what does it mean? Yomim v'loy leilos. Mi yomim v'loy kol yomim prat l'Shabbos v'yomtiv. So the pasuk says yomim, it says mi yomim. The pasuk is mi yomim yamima, from day to day. Yomim, the word yomim, implies only during day, not at night, so night is out. And then mi yomim is to exclude Shabbos. So the same word that excludes night excludes Shabbos. So what is Rav Huna Shita? He says, yes tonight, but not a Shabbos. It's the same pasuk. What's going on? Now, by the way, before we go weiter, Rav Yosef, this is all Rav Yosef who assumes this pasuk is talking about tefillin. Rav Akiva disagrees. He says this pasuk is not talking about tefillin at all. It's talking about Karban Pesach. Because the actual parsha, if you read the parsha, it's talking about Karban Pesach. And Rav Akiva Omar, Rav Akiva says this pasuk is not talking about tefillin at all. It says miyamim liyamima means that you should keep the Karban Pesach from year to year. It has nothing to do with tefillin. But Bekitzer, if you hold like Rav Yosef that this pasuk is the source, that's excluding nighttime and Shabbos, then what does Rabbi Rav Huna hold? He says yes to night, but not to Shabbos. Doesn't make sense. So you know the Gemara says, Nafkale mehecha de nafkale Rav Akiva. Rabbi Rav Huna holds like Rav Akiva. Because he holds like Rav Akiva, he does not, this pasuk is talking about the Korban Pesach, he does not have a pasuk to exclude nighttime. So if he doesn't have a pasuk to exclude nighttime, that's why he can wear tefillin at night. So why does he exclude Shabbos? The answer is there's a different drasha. Let me ask you a question. According to Rav Akiva, this pasuk is talking about Korban Pesach. So how does Rav Akiva know you can't wear tefillin on Shabbos? Right, Rav Yossi Aglili says this pasuk is talking about tefillin and it excludes nighttime and Shabbos. Great. Rav Akiva disagrees. Rav Akiva says this pasuk is not talking about tefillin at all. It's talking about the Korban Pesach. So according to Rav Akiva, how do you know can't wear tefillin on Shabbos? There's a different drasha. Rabbi Rav Huna holds like Rav Akiva, and therefore he doesn't have one pasuk to exclude nighttime and Shabbos. He has a pasuk to exclude Shabbos only. The Gemara says, "Nafkele mehechet nafkele Rav Akiva." The Tanya Rav Akiva Omer, "Yochli yini echadin tefillin b'Shabbos and Yom Tiv." Says Rav Akiva, how do you know that you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tiv? Tamaloymer v'hoya lo ois al yodcha u'taytavas benenecha. Tefillin is called an ois. It's called a sign. Mi shetzrichen ois yatzu Shabbos Yom Tiv shein atzman shein gufan ois. A very famous drasha. You only have to wear tefillin during the week because you need an ois on your body that Hashem, to testify that you're connected to Hashem. Shabbos and Yom Tov itself is a testimony. And therefore, because Shabbos and Yom Tov is itself an ois, you don't have to wear tefillin. Rabbi Avuna holds like Rav Akiva. And therefore, this pasuk excludes Shabbos. He does not have a pasuk to exclude nighttime. And therefore, he holds you're allowed to wear tefillin at night. Now, you're not allowed to pass gas. And therefore, Chazal said you can't sleep with tefillin. Fine. But you're allowed to tefillin at night. This pasuk excludes Shabbos. Just to finish up the daf, Amar Rav Elazar, Kol Meniach Tefillin Achar Shkias Achama Oiver Ba'asei. Right? What was the source according to Rav Yossi Aglili and allowed to tefillin at night? It says V'shamarta es achuka hazois limoyada miyamim limima. So says the Gemara, if you wear tefillin at night, you're Oiver and Asei. You're Mevatel and Asei. And Rav Yochanan Amar Oiver Balav. It's a lav. Let me ask you a question. Where does it say either a lav or an Asei in the pasuk? So the word that they're going to focus on is V'shamarta. Says the Gemara, Leimak brav ovin am raviloi kamiflagi. Dam rav ovin am raviloi. Kol makar shedemer yishamer pen va'al ena eloisase. Mar isle rav ovin, mar lesle rav ovin. Let me ask you a question. We've had this statement before many times throughout Shas. The word hishamer, pen, and al are all terminologies of losase. So it says vishamarta. That's losase. So it must be they argue about what does vishamarta mean. Meaning, we have a rule throughout Shas that the word hishamer, or in this case vishamarta, means losase. So that's a raya to Rav Yochanan. Why does Rav Elazar say that if you wear tefillin at night, it's an asay? If the source for not wearing tefillin at night is v'shamarta, v'shamarta is a los asay. So maybe Rav Elazar doesn't agree with that. He doesn't believe that v'shamarta means a los asay. So the Gemara says no. Loi. Dekuli alma issa de Rav Avin am Rav Eloi. Everyone agrees that hishamer is a los asay. Except, so why does Rav Elazar disagree? Rav Elazar says like this. Rav Yochanan just takes it face value. The word hishamer is always a los asay. Rav Elazar disagrees. Rav Elazar says hishamer is only a los asay if the subject of the pasuk is a negative commandment. Meaning, what are we talking about in this pasuk? Tefillin. Tefillin is a mitzvah asay. On a mitzvah asay, if you find the word vishamer, it means an asay. If the pasuk, the subject of the pasuk was chazer, if the subject of the pasuk was eating lobster, which is a lois asay, then vishamer or hishamarta is a lois asay. So they both agree that Vishamarta means Lois Aseh. Generally, they argue about what happens when you have the word Vishamarta in the pasuk in the context of a positive mitzvah. So if it's in the context of the positive mitzvah, then Rav Elazar believes it means a positive Aseh. Rav Yechon disagrees. He says Vishamer is always a Lois Aseh. The Gemara says, Loi, Dekuli Am Yisad Rav Amar Loi, V'acham Makav V'Marsav Vishamer de Lav Lav Vishamer de Aseh Aseh Marsav Vishamer de Aseh Nami Lav. V'Amar Rav Elazar Im L'Shamer and Mutter. Although you're not allowed to wear tefillin at night, if you're putting on the tefillin at night because you're afraid they're going to get destroyed, meaning, let's say I'm afraid that it's going to get stolen, so I'm putting on tefillin at night because I'm afraid it's going to be stolen, then it's mutter. V'amar Ravina, a similar maisa, Havi Yosivna Kamei de Ravashi. I was sitting by Ravashi, v'choshach v'aniach tefillin. It got late, it got nighttime, and he put on tefillin at night. V'amri lei, and I said to him, L'shaman kaboy limar. Are you wearing tefillin because you're afraid they're going to get stolen? Because if not that, I don't see what the heter is. Amar li in, he said yes. Meaning, you're allowed to wear tefillin at night only if you're afraid it's going to be stolen, and that's why he did it. But the truth is, the Gemara ends off, it actually, by the way, that wasn't the case. He put on tefillin at night, so the Gemara assumes that his student said, oh, you must be afraid that it's going to get stolen. He said, yeah, it's not true. he held you're allowed to put on tefillin at night. He just didn't want to get into an argument. He held that the halacha of wearing tefillin at night is halacha ve'ein moirin kain. It's technically mutter, but we don't publicize it. So when someone asked him what he was doing, he said, I was just, I'm afraid it's going to get stolen. But between us, Hitaka held you could put tefillin on at night. You just can't sleep with tefillin, but you can wear tefillin at night. Just to finish up, a very famous Gemara, Amar Rav Huna, chayiv adol masher din kol sha'ah. You always have to touch your tefillin to remind yourself that you're wearing it. And that's why throughout davening, there are points in davening where you touch your shel yad, touch your shel roish. You always have to touch your tefillin to remind yourself. Why? Because you're not allowed to forget you're wearing tefillin. How do I know you're not allowed to forget? You can't be masiach das from tefillin. The Gemara says, Kal v'choymer mitzitz. It's a kal v'choymer from the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol. Umatzitz she'eno is karachas. The tzitz had the word kodesh laHashem. It only Hashem's name on it once. And the halacha is Amar Teva Hoya Mitzcha Tamid Shloi Taser Daite Mimenu. The halacha by the tzitz is that you cannot forget you're wearing the tzitz. The Kohen Gadol had to constantly touch the tzitz to remind. And that only had one name of Hashem. Tefillin sheyesh ben askaris harbe alachas kama v'kama. Tefillin which had so many names of Hashem in it, kavachoymer, you can't forget you're wearing tefillin. So that's why you have to constantly touch them to remind yourself. I'm sure there's more so.